In the previous video, we create hundreds of pictures in our game panel. In this video, I change these colors of these pictures so that it look similar to this grid layout here. So I go back to our script and we see that the instance sprite, what we here use, we don't use it, we don't need it. So I delete this line and say instance dot color is color dot, and here I can use color, I use for example black. So I save the script, go to Unity and start the game. Now we see everything is black because we have 100 pictures which are black. So, but I only want that the corners are black. We see that the y-axis here on 0 are black and the y-axis on the highest position are black. The same thing is on the x-axis. 0, the grid is black, and on the x-axis, on the highest x-axis, the grid are also black. So I go back to my script and say if my y-axis is 0 or my y-axis is 9, because 9 is the highest number of our grid, or x-axis is 0 or x-axis is 9, then we use the color black. Otherwise, or else, we say instance dot color is color dot, and I use the color gray as an example. So I save the script, I go to Unity and start my game. Yes, now we see we have a black corner and a gray game panel where the snake can move. So the next thing what I want to do is, when I start the game, we see here our border and the place for the snake. But I also want to see the grid in our border. For that I open the script, and in my line where I define the size of each image, I say we have here width divided by 10, so this is our picture size. So I insert this picture size into my vector, and the new size is the picture size multiple 0.95 float. So this means that the size of the picture is 95% of the size what we have before. So I copy this and place it also for the height, then I save the script. So I go to Unity and start my game. Now we see our grid, and so we also can see our each image what we have inserted by this function. The next step is that I don't want to use the gray color, I want a little light color, so I use the color white. So I go into my script and change here the color to white. I save the script, I go to Unity and I start the game. Yes, now we see in our gameplays also the grid. For the end of the game I tried to delete the grid inside the white images, but to implement the snake it is an advantage to see where the snake is moving, in which grids. So for the first implementation I let the grid inside my plane, inside my panel. So now we have created 100 instances or 100 pictures for our panel, and the snake in the game moves inside this grid, so we have to remember the position of each instance here, and for that I create a private dictionary, and the key of the dictionary needs to be an information about the x-axis and the y-axis. So for that I use the object tuple or tuple, and the values are 2 integers. And the value of the dictionary would be a vector, the position vector of the instance. So I call this dictionary positions, and I also instantiate this dictionary. So in each loop, while I'm creating an instance, after I have the position here, I say underline positions dot add, and now I need the current position of this instance. For that I use the x and the y axis here. So I create here a new tuple with the first item is the x-axis and the second item is the y-axis. That's my key. And the value will be the vector of the current instance. So we have here our vector, but I do not want to instantiate 2 vectors for the same instance, so I say variable position of instance is, and the position of the instance is this vector here. So in this instance, while I'm setting the position, I can say also position of instance, and in my dictionary I say also position of my instance. Well, now I use a breakpoint in my script. I start the script, I go to Unity and start the game. I click F10, and now we see that our dictionary contains 100 values. The key are the tuples, so the 0, 0 position is this vector 25, 25. And the last vector would be the tuple 9, 9. That's the right top corner with this vector. So when my snake is moving, I can use this dictionary with the positions to say the snake which position is the next position where the snake have to move, but I will explain in the next videos. Important is that we have a function that create us our layout, and we can remember each position of our grid layout. In the next videos we will create the snake and insert it into our game.